وطن الكويت وطن الكويت وطن الكويت سلمت للمجد يا مهد آباء الأولى كتبوا ذكر السلوك فنادت الشهوب الله أكبر إنهم عرب طلعت كواكب جنة الخلد وطن الكويت سلمت للمجد على جبينك ضايع السعد وطن الكويت وطن الكويت وطن الكويت سلمت للمجد.
Excellency, Mesdames et Messieurs les ambassadeurs, dear colleagues, esteemed friends of France and actors of the French-Kuwaiti partnership, mes bien chers compatriotes, en ce jour de fête nationale, je suis très heureuse de pouvoir vous accueillir à la résidence de France pour une célébration conviviale et chaleureuse, comme nous avions l'habitude de le faire avant la pandémie. But first, let me start with a few opening remarks in English to greet all those who made us the honor of pleasure of attending our National Day tonight. This is the first time I can entertain you at the residence since the pandemic, and I'm very happy to be able to say that now we turn the very dark pages of the pandemic. So let me say that it is a reason to feel twice happy as usual. Around the world, Bastille Day is an occasion for French embassies to celebrate common values which bring together France and its friends. This day sounds indeed, as Victor Hugo said, as the awakening of freedom, a principle that I know is also dear to the nation of Kuwait. Just like the Confederates 232 years ago, who met on the Champ de Mars, who were in love with more equality and passion for your friends, this special event is also an opportunity for every Frenchman, every Frenchwoman, and their fellows to come together in a hearty moment to celebrate the union of the French nation. Since my arrival in Kuwait less than 1 year ago, I have been able to appreciate the strength of multiple links which tie together our two countries. I am therefore highly confident that thanks to your presence, this will be a very warm evening. And by saying so, I do not mean primarily the climate and temperature, which right now are actually not that much hotter here than in some parts of France. I must say that when I took my functions as Ambassador of France in Kuwait, I was indeed not expecting the warmth with which I would be greeted. This has been one of my most delightful experiences since I arrived here, especially over the first half of 2022. The withdrawal of COVID restriction has made it possible for me to accomplish what is the first indispensable mission of any ambassador worth of his or her name. I mean developing and nurturing personal relations. I have met many people from all walks of life, and with each of them, I was struck by the spontaneous kindness and sincerity of the dialogue. Such a quality of personal relation is the best possible basis to achieve a common endeavor, make French-Kuwaiti relation still more solid and substantial. I have many reasons to feel confident now about this objective. First, because I identified many prospects in various areas where we can agree that there exist tremendous opportunities for such strengthening through concrete cooperation. I would mention, among others, infrastructure, investment in advanced technologies, health, security, higher education and training, culture, defense. Second reason, because we have reactivated solid bilateral mechanism to discuss and achieve concrete progress as soon as COVID has made that possible again, which means at the start of this year. This was achieved within the framework of the strategic dialogue established between our two governments, which took place in Paris last January for the first time at a ministerial level. We also had in late March the successful visit here of the French Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jean-Yves Le Drian, which allowed to pursue a trusting bilateral dialogue on international affairs, which shows broad convergence. The war in Ukraine was discussed, as well as possible progress on various regional crises in the Middle East. As to Ukraine, we cannot overemphasize all the tragic consequences and negative worldwide impacts triggered by the unprovoked and unjustified aggression war launched by Russia against its neighbor on February 24th. There are the terrible civilian sufferings, the bombings, the death, and atrocities investigated by the international criminal justice, the millions of displaced persons, both inside and outside of Ukraine. All of this ongoing with endless violence, as we have already entered the 5th month of this senseless tragedy. There are the broader threats for the whole of the European continent, as for the first time since 1945, its security order has suffered a major breach, with a country invading its neighbor with a clear objective to grab territory from it. And then there are all the ripple effects of very bad consequences for the world, including the food crisis, for which responsibilities only lie with Russia. We can only hope that this all stops as early as possible. And if there are negotiations, it cannot be at the expense of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of a UN member protected by its charter. I know all Kuwaiti share this approach because they have experienced themselves the suffering of an invasion, and they know what they owe to our security architecture and to the solidarity of their Western allies. I should say, Excellency, that we have been very glad about the early assertion by Kuwait of clear and firm positions on this crisis, emphasizing the preeminence of internationally agreed principles, including the unacceptability of unprovoked aggression and the intangibility of territorial integrity. There are, of course, also convergence between our countries on other regional crises, which we should not reduce effort to solve, considering their ongoing humanitarian toll and their destabilizing impact. France greatly values the role Kuwait constantly plays as a moderating voice and a mediator. This year, we have been particularly thankful, Excellency, about the role played by Kuwait in putting a term to the diplomatic crisis between Lebanon and Arab partners. Please convey again our gratitude to Minister Sheikh Ahmed Nasser on this achievement. France remains fully committed as well to promote an end to the Palestinian crisis through the solution of two states living peacefully side by side. I have recently been back to Paris. Through multiple exchanges, I had there both in the public and the private sphere, and I have been able to confirm the high level of interest existing in France about further development of our relations. I am sure that all of you who join us tonight will be active contributors to this objective. In this very special day, which in Paris has been marked as usual by the great military parade on the Champs-Élysées, and I know some of you have watched it on TV, I wish to say a few words to emphasize especially our outstanding cooperation with Kuwait in the area of defense and security. For those who are not aware of it, Kuwait and France are bound by a defense agreement, the solidity and durability of which will be once more vividly demonstrated on occasion of the joint military exercise Pearl of the West at the end of the present year. French and Kuwaiti armies can feel proud about the quality of their relations. They are particularly illustrated by the number of Kuwaiti officers who receive training in foremost French military institutions. Some of them, whom I welcome, are among us tonight. It is French pride to be contributing to training Kuwait's military elite, and our resolute intent is to keep it central in our bilateral relationship. Moreover, utilization by the Kuwaiti force of French military equipment increases the interoperability of our forces. Over the 2 last years, the support of Sherpa vehicles and Caracal helicopters means that almost all of the grid equipment is now in working order in Kuwait, which rates of operational availability of which Kuwaiti forces can be proud. In a completely different field, one more reason for me to be optimistic about the future of relations is the keen interest I have encountered in Kuwait about the French culture and language. And please allow me on this remark to switch to French, as I know that this evening many of you have an excellent command of our language. Cet attrait pour notre culture et pour notre langue, dont un nombre significatif de Koweïtiens ont fait l'apprentissage pendant leur scolarité, a été une autre excellente surprise pour moi. J'ai été heureuse de constater que les autorités koweïtiennes considèrent que ce n'est pas encore suffisant. Et je voudrais tout particulièrement remercier le ministère de l'Éducation, avec lequel nous avons pu signer un accord qui va significativement renforcer l'enseignement du français dans le système scolaire. Nous espérons aussi, dans l'année qui vient, renforcer les possibilités pour les étudiants koweïtiens d'aller poursuivre leurs études en France. Et je voudrais maintenant me tourner vers vous, mes chers compatriotes, pour vous dire à quel point j'ai été heureuse, au terme de ma première année en tant qu'ambassadrice de France au Koweït, de constater la vigueur et l'engagement de la communauté française présente au Koweït. Cette année, qui a également marqué les 60 ans d'amitié entre nos deux pays, a été particulièrement riche et dense. Nous avons tous d'abord et enfin vu les restrictions liées à la Covid être progressivement à vos côtés pour toute démarche administrative, des renouvellements de titres d'identité, dans des délais souvent bien meilleurs que ceux qui sont proposés dans beaucoup de préfectures françaises. Je souligne aussi que nous avons le plaisir d'accueillir cette année parmi nous des nouveaux titulaires de la nationalité française que j'aurai à cœur de réunir dès la rentrée. Mes bien chers compatriotes, permettez-moi de vous souhaiter à tous une excellente fête nationale et surtout de très belles vacances avec vos proches. Vive la République et vive la France. Long live the state of Kuwait. Long live the French-Kuwaiti friendship. And please enjoy this evening together.
نزل كاميرتك مع الكاميرا.
Excuse me, sir. لو سمحت لو سمحت. الحمد لله.